I made an Irish
Very
coffee.
nice. Very,
Although
very,
it's
very
weird,
nice.
usually like one stands out above the other as far as flavor profile, I would say. Like
Yeah.
you either taste the coffee more, the Irish cream more, or the whiskey more. For whatever reason, it's like an even combo. I don't get nothing. It just tastes like a drink.
Dude, this is weird. Fedora is here, and he's early.
What do you mean
weird? What's up, man? What's up, Fedora?
Fedora is here, and he's early.
Oh, you're on mute.
I thought y'all was starting at 110.
Yeah, we were, but we just like to chit chat. We're Jason got in the chat a little early, so I was like, screw it, we'll start early. It's all good though. You're usually early anyway, or you're usually like a little bit later anyway. So like you being like now, it's like throws me off a little bit, throws me off my game a little bit.
Yeah, listen. Sometimes, it's a call for action. Today is a big day. Yo, bro, they're gonna mob you, bro. Yo, don't talk about it. I saw something on the news about Pickles' job. Yo, bro.
No, man, he's good. He's unioned for like 10 years. He's good.
You think they care? You think they care?
They'll only keep the ones that do their job correctly. And I would say from a very confident standpoint, Pickles does a really good job.
Yo, bro. They're gonna make you disappear, bro, regardless.
What the
hell? Yo, Bowen got hitters, bro. That's crazy. That's wild. So listen, don't say anything. Because
don't say anything.
Don't say anything. Because I don't want this like.
What is Boeing? What is this Boeing we speak of?
Yeah, just keep it like that. I don't want this segment to be like on dark mysteries on the internet.
If people start disappearing off the list of 21 workers that they released, then I'll start worrying.
Yeah, bro, because then they'll clip it and then they'll put it on like some YouTube channel. Nick Crowley would be like, "This was the most darkest moment on the internet," and then it'd be like a month later. They'll say whatever your real name is disappeared. Could it be?
It's like
what?
Netflix already has like a storyboard drawn up. It's just partially done right now.
Oh, I bet they're on it.
And all associates of Pickles have also been eradicated.
They don't care about us. They don't care about us.
They don't care about us.
Oh, yeah,
I want to real quick to give a shout out on St. Patrick's Day to a very good cider company called Two Towns Cider House in Oregon. I was talking to Jason about them, and they had it looks like the old school Pepsi cans, but very beautiful, very good cider. I was talking to Jason yesterday about drinking, and I was at their Two Towns festival last year, and dude, I zooked. I fucking puked all over that place, man. It was a good time. Fedora, what's your alcoholic drink of choice?
I don't really drink alcohol like that, but usually like Jack and Coke. But I know we were having a discussion on the Discord about alcohol and about how like it was like a crazy discussion about how because in case of viewers don't know, I am a musician. I play bass.
Yeah.
And I scream on the metal vocals. And I played music at book shows. I did all that other stuff. So I'm very heavily involved in like the metal music scene, the pop punk, all that other stuff. So we were talking about how Gen Z, like the younger generations, aren't drinking at concerts and festivals anymore. So just to end all that, Jack and Coke.
Very nice. My drink of choice is probably a Manhattan, if you will. If I'm sitting down with some friends. Pickles,
what the hell is that?
It's a delicious drink. You should try it sometime.
Is it like one of those girly drinks?
It comes in a martini glass.
Oh, you're fancy.
Usually, doesn't it? Or is it to come in a tumbler?
I mean, I've had it in like a baller glass, like a Shut up. Pickles, you're like a just straight neat whiskey, aren't you?
Yeah. I like a good bourbon or rye. Neat.
Yeah, that makes sense. There's a lot of good distilleries out here too.
There's this one called Douce, that the Jay-Z's drink. I bought that. I bought it once because I just like the bottle, It looks like a Dungeons and Dragons potion. I swear to God.
It's like in Zelda, old school Zelda, when you got those potions that look
exactly.
like those little like vials that you use in like chemistry class.
Yes, it looked crazy.
Yeah. Or no, like in Castlevania, dude. Remember those big?
Yeah.
They're like that.
It even has a cross on it. It even has a cross on it.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh,
yeah,
okay.
it looks crazy.
Well, let's we're about almost 10 minutes into the chat. Let's say what's up to the chat, or into the show. Let's say something to the chat. Sense that to tell what's going on. Michael Baker, always in the chat, a good member of the community. I tried doing wrenches. I'll try doing them later. I just haven't had time to really get into it.
Okay.
Spider Guy Murph, yes, happy St. Patrick's Day for all you celebratory Catholics out there and want to be drinking people. Doc Joe, what's going on? Good morning or good afternoon. I don't know what time it is over in Oklahoma. Comics Embrace. I hope you like some of the picks we have today. Just thinking some of the guys in the chat here. And Kingdom of Nerds. If you're not already following them, please follow Kingdom of Nerds. His show is on almost all the time. I'm always catching it on the fly. So, and then who else we got? Okay, cool. Spider Guy Murph says, I'm late. I'm gonna mute you real quick, Thor. My late uncle worked at Boeing for 40 years, and I just imagine he's rolling over his grave with embarrassment. He's probably doing all right. So the theme of today's show is 3. That is the theme of today's show. A little bit of an inside joke between everyone, but the theme is 3. 3. It was 2023 last year. We've been doing the show for under 3 years. 3 is the number of Babe Ruth and Russell Wilson, and 3 is 3 of us. So that is a theme. 3.
It's also how many licks it takes to get to the middle of a Tootsie Pop.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
And it's also how many smacks the Count from Sesame Street gives his hose. 1, 2, 3 slaps.
Very nice. Yeah, so that's the theme of the show. The subject of the show today, and I posted out a little Instagram post the other day. I'll share it real quick for everybody so you can see it. Shout out to Ben Stein and their show out there. Let's see here.
Yeah, wait, what's up with that house?
What's up with what house? What?
When you pulled it up, there's a picture of a house there.
Oh, I don't know. So Mike kind of had some thoughts last week, and I was curious to what everyone's number 1 top 10 show is. I've seen some outlandish posts claiming their show to be the number 1 show the past 3 years, and with less than 100 subs. But I was just honestly curious of what your favorite show was as far as top 10. Whoa. And kind of going through the comments here. Yeah, I just thought it was kind of a funny kind of a fun and funny kind of like exercise to go through. Fedora says Pickles has an FOC show. that was cracking up.
Fear of clowns.
Fear of clowns. House of Stein for sure is probably my favorite top 10 show. They do, kind of a combination of a top 10 show, the best of the top sales of the week. A lot of them sometimes are, newer books, but they give you some of those little nuggets to kind of look out for, just books I've never thought of on there. Almost 10. The show has grown a lot since its inception, and congrats to Stein. Obviously Brian, a big member of the community. Yeezy, a good friend of mine. Dollar Spec Media, he's also on there as well, and I think Red Hood shows up every once in a while as well. But guys I kind of watched during the pandemic, kind of coming together and doing their own thing. Really great show. I'm sure everyone in the chat, kind of listens to them and all that. So, but yeah, I just thought it was kind of a fun little, kind of exercise to do. I'm curious in the chat, like I don't consider our show like a top 10 show, quote unquote. It's just a subject, and then we try and pick, 10 to 15 comic books to talk about. But Jason, Pickles, what is your favorite top or like comic show, I guess, in general?
I don't know. The ones that I find myself watching a little bit more on YouTube, only because it's just happens to align with like when I have free time. I've been watching. I've caught like 2 or 3. I don't like. I'm there, but I don't like chiming in the chat or anything like that. But I've watched a few of the latest Kingdom of Nerds ones. I've watched a few House of Steins. Yep, there you go, House of Stein, and I enjoy the quick little. As far as like FOC is concerned, because I don't really like pay attention to that much. I enjoy like on Instagram. I think it's covered like COVR price. Where they do their quick little list where you can just kind of flip through. It highlights like this and that, and just kind of gives you a brief like summary of the book or whatever. It's just a quick little flip through kind of thing for me. So
yeah, Cover Price Lefteros's list is really good. It's really well put together. Shout out to Black Crown Comics. They're usually on later on the day on Sundays. Fedora, do you have any favorite top 10 or like other comic book shows you watch or just kind of peek through?
Outside of the show, I try not to like I don't know. I guess like I work in a shop and I'm always surrounded by comics, so it's kind of setting in for me where it's like I talk about this all the time. So like usually like when I'm at home, I try to like avoid shows that talk about comics outside of our own. There are a few that I'll pop into, like Kingdom of Nerds, obviously, but you know, I mean, it's more of a me and him are buddies, and it's more of a respect thing. I come in and I like his opinions because he's my guy, you know. So that's extremely biased. But outside of that bias, like I don't know, and also like I feel like I just like to. I don't like other people's opinions to like influence my own.
Oh right,
so so like I try not to like look at what other people are doing, and kind of focus on like what I want to do, kind of thing. So no disrespect to anybody, but like if you put a gun to my head and I had to pick without bias, that's hard. Who's the guy? Dollar. His name is Dollar something.
Spec Media.
I forgot, but I follow. I think he does like the hot top 10. I don't know. Like
it's probably Spec Media. Dollar Richie.
Yeah, there you go. That guy. Yeah. I always see what he's doing because he he interacts with some of my posts sometimes, but outside of that. Yeah. But what I used to watch, I think Tales from the Flip Side was pretty interesting for me to watch, just to follow. Before they started doing that whole key collector thing. Like once they got on key collector, I was like, ugh. So then they kind of split up, and I think they're doing like their own things now.
Yeah, so I was on Tales from the Flip Side. That was kind of my first foray into podcasting, quote unquote. I used to do a show with someone, and anyway, I respect Dino and those guys like a ton. Really nice dude. You know, we talked a few times on DMs, and he actually recruited me to come on his show. It didn't work out so well, but I do love it. I'd say Lords of the Long Box is like kind of my old school. They just kind of do their own thing. I love that show too. TiVo's doing a great job over there. He's been doing it for a long time. West Coast homie as well. Richie's the only person I met in person as far as comic books are concerned. I flew down kind of during pandemic era to Orange County, met up with him.
Nice.
I was in town and stuff, but he's a really nice guy, simple dude. It's funny, like when you meet these people in person, like you're like, oh my God, this guy's like, I've seen him on YouTube and he's, picked all this spec and blah, blah, blah. And like we meet in person, he's just like kind of a normal dude. But it was kind of cool meeting him and seeing him face to face, and just kind of keeping in touch with him. So shout out to Spec Media. Michael Baker is a wrench. He has a wrench. It actually works. That's awesome. Okay, cool.
You know who people bring up at the shop sometimes? I don't know who he is, but maybe you guys could tell me. Very Gary Comics.
Oh yeah.
No idea who that guy is. But
yeah.
He's been brought up in discussion by like several customers. So
he has a pretty big following. It's almost like 10,000, if not more. But
so keep it up, because if it's reaching here, Somebody had mentioned him that he had went to he did a video about a shop in Brooklyn, and then we were just kind of talking about that specific shop. He didn't have too good of an experience there, but
yeah, he seems like a nice guy. I've never really talked to him. I know the Spine Tick dudes are pretty big as well. But yeah, just we're gonna try and keep doing this as long as we can. We're almost at 600 subs. We hit 580 the other day. We'll still try and do the Tuesday show. I hopefully I got my homie Renee coming through the chat or coming through the show next week. We're gonna talk about keyboards and like computer collectibles, which I never thought of before. But hopefully I get him kind of like hold on a second, guys. Hopefully I get him like, watching the show or coming on the show and talking about that. Just a different segment. And yeah, hopefully we get some support. So let's see here. 22. I never heard of 22. Oh, I know those guys. Yeah, very nice. Thanks, Michael. Thanks for coming through on the wrench there, man. I owe you big time. But without further ado, hold on.
I wonder if I'll get stopped by security wandering around trying to do the show in Vegas when I'm down there.
Oh yeah. If you can't do it, man, just let me know.
It'll be the day after the concert, so we'll see how wrecked I am.
Nice. It's always good to do shows when you're wrecked.
It'll be all day, so I'll be tired.
Crazy. So I would think the toughest spec is villain spec, right? Like, think of Gore. I mean, he was like $1,000 comic book, and pandemic prices, blah blah blah. But like, he dipped big time. Who's another one? Cad Bane. Like, I remember after that episode aired, it was so perfect, and then they killed him off. Wait, was it the same episode he showed up in, or was the next episode he died? Do you guys remember from the Boba Fett show?
Also, word is that he's not dead.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But he dies in the show.
Stop trying to pump the spec. You pumping the spec.
I have nothing to gain from it. I don't have any Cad Bane books.
I have 47 Cad Bane books. I have 3. The theme is 3. Everyone, just kidding.
I have the Darth Maul one only because like I was like, I grew up as a kid liking Darth Maul, so I bought the first 2, and I was like, yo, this shit is garbage.
Yo, but like, did he die in that episode? Or he died in the next one. Do you guys remember?
I don't know. I never saw it.
Oh, I think he dies in the next episode. Like, he gets shot in the next episode by Boba. But I remember, like, so the first episode comes out. Spider Guy Murph says Cad Bane will return, so hopefully he comes back. So yeah, he comes out, has an amazing like first appearance in the show. The book goes crazy. The next episode, boom, he's done. And yeah, all the rumors that he may come back, blah blah blah. Like, cool, but we haven't seen him since. That was like almost 2 years ago, if not longer, which is crazy to me. So villain spec's kind of tough, man, because you're more likely to see a villain die versus a hero. And so I was looking at like just quote unquote top 10 lists or just lists for comic book speculation, and I haven't seen a villain spec, like a villain spec show. And so I was like, this might be kind of a cool show to go through. Talk about some books that we may or may not have. I have probably 20% of these books. The other ones I just kind of fell into and just was doing research on them. The fellows seem to be pretty okay with the list. I haven't told them what books I did actually pick, because I like to surprise them.
The spec.
What's that?
2 villains to spec.
Oh man, shut up. You know what? Fuck you, Jason.
It's okay. You can say that. We're past like the.
That's right. And by the way, this show is sponsored by Two Town Cider. Anyway, it's not sponsored by Two Town Cider. I just like the cider. So yeah, so it's a tough thing to look for. So I just looked at characters that have always been cool, cosplay characters that might show up later down the road. Some of these range from like $10 spec to not showed up spec to like already showed up, and oh my god, I can't believe that's the price of it. So I hope everyone in the chat enjoys this. Again, I want to thank everyone's support. We've been doing this for a little over a year. It started with me and just this asshole below me, and it turned into 3 dudes just having a good time. And maybe one day us 3 will become the Trinity. One day we'll all meet together and
do the show in person.
We'll do the show
One
in person, on camera. We'll just follow Fedora. We'll just be walking around New York
wouldn't that
City.
be crazy if we just have our 3 cameras out in New York City and we're just doing the show? All
And then we
separately
meet at the end.
Yeah.
What about this?
It's like
the third cinematic podverse.
Dolan.
What about the villain named Dolan?
Yo,
Hey, what's up, Chance? Thanks for stopping by.
Yo, fuck you, Dolan. Yo, fuck out of here. Mixtape, bro. Yo, I hate James Dolan so much, bro. Yo, he's like the biggest antagonist of the podcast of our cinematic podverse.
Flash mob being in Central Park. It's that fountain on kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you know what, Sparty Guy Murph? I almost put Mr. Sinister here. The only reason I didn't is because I'm frustrated with that spec. Because he's my favorite X-Men villain. And I've just gone back and forth. I hate the cover. I've always gravitated towards, was it 238? Or I can't remember, but it's Mr. Sinister's like on the cover. But yeah, that's a great spec. I was gonna put Thanos on here just because there's like multiple appearances but like everybody knows about that comic book. But yeah, I hope you guys all like the spec. I kind of went through every single publisher. I try to keep it equal. But let's see what we find.
Wasn't Sinister, he's supposed to be the main antagonist in the new X-Men series, yeah? The cartoon.
I mean, I don't even know because like they fired the director. So
well, it's still coming out. They were already done with it.
Oh, really? Okay, so
yeah.
I mean,
it still comes out like Wednesday, I think.
So like, I've always like I think it's so inconsistent, and so people like if you're buying it now, I don't really see it going up that much, and it's just I just hate the first spec of it. I like 239 way better because he's on the cover, but. I mean, you might be right, Jason. I don't know. Or sorry, Pickles.
I mean, I don't know if it's gonna like spike anything, but I'm pretty sure he's the main villain in the cartoon.
That'd be awesome. I hope so.
Well, I remember he was like even in the old series, he was the one that kind of popped in and out more so than other villains.
Right. What, dude? What
him and Apocalypse were like the two that kind of like
showed up most. Magneto wasn't even really like he was like I have you, Charles. He was like
he was like a villain, but not.
Yeah. Fuck Magneto and fuck.
Like I want evil Magneto. When can I get like an evil Magneto?
Yeah, I want like Death Magneto.
Yeah, I want like the Magneto that wants to end like all humans because
I want
superior.
I want Wolverine Magneto.
Yeah.
Sorry,
we've seen that before though. Remember, he just goes.
Yeah, that's
right. Wolverine's like
I know. Dude, that's my favorite $75.98 of all time. But yeah, Knuckles, Sonic number 13. I knew Fedora would like this one. I thought of you kind of everyone else except for me in this whole like kind of exercise here. I'm gonna go with Fedora first. So first half of Knuckles, he's an adversary of Sonic. I never actually played the Sonic game past like 5 minutes because like Macy's had a timer on it, or Bon Marché back in the day, and I never had a Sega Genesis. But this is a weird kind of price range. Like I think in general, like me and Fedora go back and forth with like, you know, first appearances of like said character. And it's really hard to get like kind of a definitive amount of how much these books go for, how much to pay for them, right? I've been seeing Raws go from 30 to 60 in newsstand, in direct, what have you. Sonic sells really well. I mean, I think the properties is one of those top 10 iconic properties. Fedora, man, what you think about this on kind of a lower end Sonic key?
Buy it now because Knuckles is getting his own show. So buy it now.
Is it a cartoon or what is it?
They're getting like I think like a Paramount animated like miniseries. Okay. It's supposed to be in between the movie that just came out and the movie that came out now. But you know, anytime I post something Sonic on Facebook or on Instagram, you know, I post my little stories, or like I don't really post too much about comics, but anytime it's Sonic, it always gets strong reactions from people who aren't really into comics. And so, you know, most of all the stuff that I post, I always get strong reactions when I post Sonic. Like the Sally comic that I had where she looking thick. everybody was like leaving comments, you know, and stuff like that. So
Right.
And Sonic is still pretty relevant with the kids. So you know, the games and stuff like that. So I think that a lot of the higher end keys are kind of like you can't really find them in good condition, and when you do, they're damaged. So this is like a good one to find in near mint, and you could probably try and get a 9.8, and you could get a really good return on investment between $30 to $60. Why not? You know, so because nobody's really into this one specifically. Everybody's trying to get Shadow. Like that's the book that everybody's chasing. So this one's kind of fallen into the wayside. But I think this is definitely a solid investment, quote unquote, if you will. If you're like trying to hold a Sonic book long term, this is the one. So that's just my opinion.
Love it. Pickles, what do you think?
Yeah, no, I really love this book, and it's kind of like one of those ones too where while I can appreciate and love the beauty and intricacies of like the art on modern books, like something like this is what makes me feel like a kid again. Like it brings me back, like the art style, just the way that it is. That's just kind of what I grew up on with comic books. Like it's just one of these, like just seeing the picture of it bring me back to being like a kid and just wanting to friggin' read it over and over and over again type of deal. So yeah, it's definitely something that I would want to snatch up just based on that alone. Not to mention like the spec of Knuckles, which is weird, like that everybody's going for Shadow. I don't know why, if it's just because like, I don't know if they've appeared in live action yet or not, if it's purely that. But Knuckles was always like, that was the new character. It went from like just Sonic to Sonic and Tails to Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles. And like Knuckles was always the one that I liked the most when they introduced him. I think I'd stopped playing the games before they had introduced Shadow.
So sorry to cut you off, but me and Ferd, we've been talking about Shadow, and I think the thing with Shadow is that everybody listed as like a very hard to find book. And I know the pandemic really put a lot of attention for it because people were paying like absurd prices for it. And I don't know that if it's like a hard to find book per se, but I will say it's hard to find in near mint.
Extremely hard.
Yeah, so I think that people are misconstruing like the availability for the book versus the availability in high grade. And I think that's kind of where like the discrepancy comes in, because Shadow is kind of like nostalgic for a lot of I guess I would say Gen Z, because a lot of the Gen Z kids like are like super into Shadow. And he had that one game for PlayStation 2, and Sonic Adventure 2 is kind of like widely considered as the best Sonic game of all time.
Which one?
That one, Sonic Adventure 2.
Which and what system's that on? PlayStation?
Dreamcast.
Oh god, Dreamcast. That's gotta be a nice.
I used to have one of those. I don't know what happened to it, but
your Dreamcast?
Yeah.
Was it what color was it?
The like white kind of gray looking one.
The black one is like the hit to get as far as the consoles are concerned. You know, I love consoles and stuff. Anyway.
Yeah. So that's when Shadow first appeared, and then they had the GameCube version that released later down the lifespan of the GameCube. So that was like a lot of kids' first introduction to Sonic, with like the cool, edgy black Sonic. So, but I would think that Knuckles might be like a better, because they're reintroducing Knuckles, and I think that he's probably going to be more important as like time goes on for children's childhood as well. Because I dated one girl, and she was like crazy about Sonic, and she was like 4 years old. So I'm thinking about like, I'm dating this girl, she has a kid, and she's like super into Sonic. So
sorry, dude. You said I dated this girl who's into Sonic, and then you like a couple days, and then you said she was 4 years old, and then I was like, wait, what?
Well, no,
But I get what you meant.
Yeah.
I was like, what?
I dated a girl who had a daughter, and then her daughter was into Sonic, so she was like crazy about Sonic. So like she was like 4 years old.
Sorry, dude.
No, I got you.
Okay, so I'm
Plus
gonna
the
check.
background doesn't help.
That's all right.
The background.
I knew what you meant. I'm late to the party on that one. Okay, all right. Well, damn it. All right, it's no big deal. I'm late to the party on a lot of these Sonic things, honestly, man. Like, so I like the. Sorry, I'm still laughing about that. I don't know why I did that. I'm very like, I don't have any Sonic like old stuff at all because it didn't really like play. I didn't really play the game, and I don't understand all the characters so much. But I like the. I'm gonna put you on mute again, Fedora.
Oh.
I like the Sonic the Hedgehog like spec. It's very it makes sense to me, and I'm totally late to the game. However, with that said, I like to look at the market for it and understand how the market works. The tough thing about Sonic books is like, again, like, you know, I was looking at Raws from 30 to 60 and just kind of taking a peek through the condition of those books. It was pretty hard to see like a near mint copy or like even a very good or very fine copy. So, you know, good luck to y'all. I get Jason's, you know, kind of nostalgic kind of thought. Whenever I see this book, I can hear the music in my head of the game going on, and I didn't even play the game really. So, yeah, I think it's a fun pick to look at and research. Happy hunting, everyone. I don't know. I couldn't find any CGC high grades in this book, so I just went off the raw. So, next up, we have Year of the Villain, Hell Arisen, first punchline. I know arguably there is another book out there that is considered possibly the first 9 or the first punchline. I'm going with this book just because it was the first book I saw her in personally. And sorry, that's not my 9.9, but 9.8 goes for about $80 or so. And I can't think of hey, what's up, Reverend Wormhood? Thanks for coming through, man. Good to see you in the chat. That Sonic Dreamcast game did drive. I never played it, but dude, rest in peace to Sega Dreamcast, the greatest system of all time. This is the 9.8s are going for like $80 or so. Kind of what I was saying is I can't think of a female villain. I would say maybe like on a whim, like character the past 4 or 5 years, let's just say, that has had like female character that's had an impact like Punchline has. She's essentially like a different version of Harley. And I think I've heard, or we talked about on previous shows about how Harley's not as like, she seems to be more of a heroine versus like a villain. And it's kind of unfortunate that she's not registered as a villain more so. I read this whole series that had Punchline in it. I thought it was really cool. She's very mysterious in how they presented her. I think they did a really good job. There is a third print of this book as well that I think that print runs about half of the first print. And I actually like the third print. I think it presents better in that purple kind of like background. You can see right there. A 9.8 goes for like cost. I don't know if this is like a good spec to like go up in price, but it's a cheap spec for a pretty important character that could blow up in 5 years. I don't know what DC's gonna approach her, but I know we'll see, man. I think Fedora's buying some Gatorade or something, but what's that?
Red Bull.
That's all right. Red Bull. So I'm gonna go with Jason first. Pickles, do you have this book? Have you read Punchline, and what do you think of her as like kind of a character?
So I'm not super familiar with the character. I've heard of her, but I haven't read anything with her in it. Is she actually like? Is she the daughter of the Joker? I'm guessing. Or no?
You know, I'm kind of with you there. I read her early stuff, and then I got into like speculation. So I didn't really read a lot about her, but I don't think she is.
She's just kind of like an acolyte of him, if you will.
You know what she reminds me of? She's basically like if Psylocke was Harley Quinn, that is Punchline. but she has the same
okay.
background. She's like a doctor, and like she's super smart and got like fucked up in the head. I gotta read the origin of Punchline because she has a really good story. It mirrors Harley Quinn in a way, but she seems more diabolical.
Wait, bro. Did you say that's Joker's daughter? Bro, you wildin', bro.
No.
I
He
asked if it was.
he didn't know. He didn't know if he was.
No,
or not.
I know that was crazy. Nah, that's his like new girlfriend, or like his new main squeeze or whatever.
Oh, so it's his daughter, huh?
Yeah,
I'm playing.
He's Leo DiCaprio, and she's his 19-year-old model girlfriend.
4-year-old.
That's essentially what that is.
Gotcha.
Like, not even joking. But yeah, that's one of those weird books, man. Like, I know Cassandra is like really high on the character, and she thinks that there's like a really high potential ceiling for her, and you could reference back to like one of our past shows where we discussed it. But I don't know, man. I just feel like Harley she's such an iconic character. Like, I have a friend, and she doesn't even read comics, but she buys Harley Quinn memorabilia. Like, she has like an entire shelves of like statues and toys and stuff like that. She don't read comic books. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah,
it's like, I don't know. I don't know.
That's right.
I wonder if they're trying to fill like a void that they left when, because like you were saying, like Harley's not necessarily a villain anymore. Like she was always kind of portrayed as a villain, but like now, especially in like live action, she's joined the Suicide Squad. She showed that she like does have a heart and like can jump back and forth between those worlds. Maybe Punchline was supposed to be more of like all right, well, Harley is what she is now. Maybe like we can get another character to go in the direction that we wanted Harley to go in the first place, and kind of fill that void. But maybe it was just done in a weird way. But like I said, I haven't gotten a chance to like explore too much about this character because it's still a little new to me. Like I said, I've heard of the character, but I haven't like read anything with her in it.
Yeah, Jason, I mean, I think she's pretty cool. The origin story is like very, very, I think they did a really good job of telling it. I didn't think of this, but Reverend Wormwood, if you're not following Reverend, follow him on YouTube as well. I felt like Punchline was forced on us, kind of like Spider-Boy. We were told she was awesome, and then she was on a million covers. And I think that's like, that's what's tough with a newer character, right? You go hot on the character, and then unless that particular villain or character has like a solo series, they kind of are written whenever the writer feels like it. Or if you had a new writer and they didn't write Punchline or whatever character it is, it's hard, I think, for that character to kind of visit the series, because like the writers want to put their mark on the series as well. So I never felt like she was forced on us, but I like Jason's kind of theory that now that Harley's being pushed in another way, maybe they need a replacement. The idea wasn't as original as I thought, or as it like sounds when you read about Harley Quinn, or sorry, about Punchline. But I liked the story personally, and I was reading this. I mean, she came out during the pandemic, so it was like a lot of stuff was going on anyway, which is why that third print's such a short print run. And forced like on us like Tosin. Tosin was like, that was kind of a similar kind of, right? Like Tosin fucking sucks, but rest in peace to all the people that spec on Tosin or didn't get out.
Oh man, they're on suicide watch right now. Yo, especially that I'll never forget. Yo, I swear to God, I'll never forget. That one day I was on somebody's whatnot, and then they were bidding on Tosin, and then the dude paid 1200. Bro, if you're watching this show, bro, stick your head in an oven, bro. Like, you don't deserve to be a part of this community anymore.
I think somebody probably came and installed oven guards, so he can't do it.
They're like, no, man, you gotta live with your life.
Bro.
So I went on kind of a deep dive again. Invincible came out with their next season. I haven't watched it yet, so no spoilers here. But Invincible number 44. I was going to put Omni-Man here, but that's such an expensive book. But Anissa, I think that's how you say your name. First appearance of Anissa, Invincible 44. There's like 7,500 copies of this book. I I've talked about Invincible being a pretty good, spec play with like the younger generation, the low print run of Invincible in general. I think this cover, it just hits for like first. I mean, it's a perfect first appearance for a cover, for a villain or for a character in general. If you don't know about Anissa, like read Invincible. It's a great series to read, but she's one of the villains of Invincible, and there's a ton of them. I thought this was kind of crazy. $220 for a 9.8 of this character. And yeah, I mean, I think Invincible has like a very long kind of. There's a lot of potential in it, right? For a lot of the reasons I just stated. But as a villain spec, I really like her as far as specs is concerned. I guess 220 now. I think about it and kind of come back a little bit. It's kind of high for an independent, not one of the big two, and being a newer book. But I just think back to the print run, and I'm like, man, this could double if the show does really well and people gravitate towards the villain. What are your guys' thoughts on this? Fedora, I'm going to start with you.
Yo, man, listen, Invincible is still on fire. Like, we just did a sale at the shop. I think we did like 25% off of graphic novels and trades. One dude came in, he was just like, yeah, I've been watching Invincible. And then he was talking about how he was on YouTube, he was looking at the shorts, and he was just like, he appreciated the shorts, like giving him more insight on the characters. But then he was like, you know what, like the shorts made me want to read the book. So he bought the first compendium.
Sick.
2 hours later, a kid with his mom comes, and then she was just like, yo, like, don't like spend too much money because we can't, like, then he comes with like the hardcover compendiums 1, 2, and 3, and he's like begging his mom, please, please. And she was like, what the hell? This is crazy. And then he was like, oh, it's 25% off. And then she begrudgingly bought this kid
what a bitch.
the first 3 compendiums. So kids are getting into it, adults are getting into it. So for me, any Invincible first appearance, like these characters are a lot of people's first foray into the comics. So they're going to remember these characters, and a lot of these deaths and first appearances are going to impact them. So I don't know who Anissa is. I don't read Invincible. I'm not going to pretend to know, but I do know how excited people get when they see Invincible trade paperbacks, graphic novels, kids begging their parents to get them to spend hundreds of dollars on the hardcover special editions we have. So take that information for what you will. Don't know who she is, but if I see a kid begging his mom for something, you should probably buy it, in my opinion.
I love it, man. Pickles.
Yeah, so like you were saying how 220 for a 9.8, you're not sure about that. Like, I'm always shocked at how high and just steady the prices for Invincible graded books stay. Like, even even the raws like are still crazy price, but it's like it never ceases to amaze me like how they just kind of stay the way that they are because they are so popular. And I'm somebody who found out about the books because of the show. Like, I didn't know much about it until somebody like was like, hey, they knew I was big into comic books, and they asked me like, hey, have you watched Invincible on Amazon? I'm like, no, what's that? And then he kind of like explained it to me, and then I watched the show, and then that's kind of what got me into the comics themselves. I still haven't watched, like you, I still haven't watched season 2 yet, so I'm waiting on that. I know they just started back up with like the second half of it or whatever, but
yeah,
I still have to like remember to go back and watch it. I can't remember what I was watching on there before, and just never made it back.
Yeah, me either, man. I'm still watching Force on Stars. That's beside the point, but yeah, cool, man. I mean, like what you just explained there is like it's the reverse, right? It's like, oh, I'm watching this show. I didn't know this was a comic book. And how many times have I talked to people like, oh, you knew that was a comic book, right? Oh, I didn't know that. I want to pick it up. Too bad, it's $50. Oh, I don't want to do that,
Right.
But like what Fedora was kind of saying, and I've said this many times, which is why I picked Invincible as one of my picks. I I never see the Compendium 1 anywhere. So people are just finding out about this series being a comic book, and they're wanting to read it organically. I don't know if that's going to push, the single issues, the grade 9.8 to 220 to go up higher. It may take some time here, but that's a good indicator that's organic growth, through the distribution channels of Amazon. We're not sponsored by Amazon, by the way. And I wanted to also point this out. So the number 1 issue of Invincible is like really tough to get, and pretty like high grade or grade in general, 9.4 or higher. I saw 9.4 get $995 in this market. I think that could be considered like a grail, a modern grail of the past 20 years eventually. So I put this Whatnot variant because this was going for crazy like money. And I know we shit on Whatnot and like, what have you. If you buy a Whatnot, like I buy it from them every once in a while, but during the pandemic, a lot of people screwed people over on that app. But this was one of the first Whatnot exclusives that I don't mind buying in a high grade and getting autographed by Ryan Otley. Or not, was it Ryan Otley or is it? Yeah, Otley. Just because the number 1 goes for so much money. This was going for like 850 raw during the pandemic. I know, yeah, it's like the pandemic and stuff. What's up, Trev? The shipping guru. Join him tonight on Sundays. I think he's doing a show at 6:00 tonight Pacific time. He's always my last show I watch before the end of the night or end of the weekend. So catch him on his show. You guys all follow him. Thanks for coming through.
That's your regular. I gotta watch my Ninja Kamui. Is what I watch on Sundays. Oh. Ninja Kamui, that new show I was telling you about.
Is that on Netflix, right?
No, it's airing live on.
Everybody's talking about that show.
Dude, it's pretty good.
Oh yeah,
so it's what's his face? Okazaki.
Takashi Okazaki.
Yeah, he does all the art for the show, and it's Sung-Hoo Park, I think, is the director. I think that's who it is.
Oh, yeah. We haven't seen that disclaimer in a while.
I apologize. That's my fault. I apologize.
Yeah, I forgot.
Yeah, I got you. But yeah, this Whatnot variant was going for like 850 raw. There's a bunch of like kind of old, like content creators on the book that pre-ordered this book. I saw raw go for like $80 to $100 the other day of this cover. There's a bunch of other ones, but I wouldn't mind getting this and getting signed by Ryan Otley at the next SummerCon convention. Wink, wink, Jason. SummerCon. And yeah, it's a first issue. It's a reprint, I know, but I thought it was kind of cool.
Wait, can we stop for a moment and appreciate Fedora's call out from last week that's now starting to blow up, the DC Comics Present 26, because they just like 24 hours ago announced that they're doing a live action.
Oh, yeah. Let's do it. What was it? What was it again?
Was it DC Presents 26, the first appearance of the Teen Titans?
Yeah. So if you guys weren't watching last week's show, we did some DC Spec, and Fedora
7-0.
Fedora called this book out without just no kind of whatsoever, and we don't pat ourselves too much on the back here, but
I do.
But
I mean, that's at least a $50 to $60 increase from what like a raw 7.0 was going for,
right?
A week or two ago.
So we more so Fedora than myself, we collectively actually do put out pretty good content here. Again, if you want to subscribe, like and follow for whatever you want, like that's cool. But like, we're not bullshitters, man. And Fedora, I wouldn't say he got lucky because he's batting probably 800 on a lot of the calls he's made in the past like 3 months, so it's pretty recent.
I don't mean to toot my own horn, but toot. So.
Yeah, do it 3 times. Toot. You know what I mean? Three times.
Toot.
Oh man, that's funny. But yeah, I mean, literally, Fedora was talking about this last week, and then Wednesday, Thursday, I didn't have time to clip the show. Fedora, I was super busy last week, but yeah, man. I mean, watch the show. I mean, who knows? Maybe next week, Invincible Anissa shows up on the next Invincible episode, and you guys like messed up or whatever. But yeah, man. Again, and I hope I would say this about the show. I think we all three of us have a pretty fun time doing the show every Sunday. It's a little bit of work, but I think it's totally worth it. And I hope everyone in this show and all the shows that I'm on gets a little bit of something from what we put out here, because it does take some time and we put a lot of effort into the show. Fedora did a really good job last week. Shout out to him for a majority of the slides we did last week. So he saved me a lot of time and a lot of headache. I just had some crazy stuff going on like that last week. But man, he's putting out nuggets out here, man. And there's a lot of really good shows out there. We try to do our best, and we may not hit everything you want, like every show we have, but I think, just we do hit it every once in a while. And this definitely hit a home run if you're able to buy into it or thought of it. So
if
anyway.
you want to buy a copy, we have one at my shop for $70.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's a pretty like mid copy, but yeah, it is. But if you just want to buy it to own it, or if you're in the New York City area, come by, say hi. We could chop it up. I'm there at the shop Fridays and Saturdays, and we chop it up. If you're in New York City, even if you're visiting, stop by. We could chop it up.
Nice, man. Great pick, dude. Like that was like you hit all the alignments were like aligned, if you will.
It still made no sense that it was that cheap to me.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. I mean, that's a great what, Bronze Age, Modern Age, like Copper Age book. Excuse me. Okay, we're good. There it goes. Sorry. Spawn 242.
That was like trying to secretly fart in class and thought you covered it up and then farted after the noise that you made.
Sorry. This is Spawn 242, the Redeemer cover. It's on its first appearance, but the first appearance doesn't go for a lot. I love the Spawn books that have like these lower print runs. I just think it's fun to collect, or be on the lookout for. But Redeemer's on this cover. The book is a white cover, so it's really tough and high grade. I wouldn't say like, oh, you get this book for $50 and try and flip it, because it's a collector's book. There isn't really like, Redeemer's not going to show up on any show, or Redeemer's not going to be like have his own series. This is just purely like it's a lower print run Spawn book. It's a beautiful cover. Todd McFarlane on the cover, I think, on this one. Chat, yeah, you can, oh yeah, he's got
his little marking in the corner there.
Yeah, this would be like a cool book to have your Spawn collector, and you want to get it signed, I think, because he can sign it like anywhere. I know we got Comics Embrace in the house. We got Mr. Baker that are big Spawn fans. There's some Spawn non-fans in our chat as well, which, it's all good. Everyone can like whatever they like. But I'm gonna start with Pickles on here, because I always feel like, dude, you're more of a Spawn fan than me. But what are your thoughts on this Spawn 242 Redeemer cover? I think I love it. Oh shit, Michael's got 9.8. Good for.
Yeah, no, it's a great cover. Like you said, hard. No, most Spawn covers are hard in a white. Like I know, what is that? Spawn 9. People constantly try to get that, and I've known so many people that were like, "Man, I got this perfect copy, and it didn't come back 9.8." Yeah. I'm like, dude, those Spawn white covers are hard. I don't know why. But yeah, like this. I don't know if I would. I mean, I'm not like as big into Spawn as like I would like own this to keep and stuff like that. But I dig the cover, dig the character. So yeah.
Yeah. Fedora.
We should do a whole episode on Spawn and have Michael Baker pop up, because I love Spawn. I own the first book, but I feel like there's like a lot of lower point books that a lot of people may or may not know about, books that I don't know about. And I know regularly we occasionally get like a huge acquisition of Spawn books, and they always end up in the back issues. And I'm pretty sure there's some crazy stuff in those back issues that I mean, I don't know where to start. I know Michael Baker, he hits me up sometimes, and I hit him up and tell him to come down and check out some of the Spawn stuff we have. But man, like it's. I feel like Spawn and Savage Dragon are like
Yeah.
pretty low print stuff because we just had Savage Dragon like 266 or 267 or whatever.
Yeah.
It had just dropped and there was like a second print, and then I was thinking to myself like, I'll pick up the second print because I know it's like it's so low print. So like, why not, right? Like I'm not saying it's gonna be anything, probably isn't, but you never know with these like low print Spawn and Savage Dragon books. Anything can happen.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I love
I've
it.
never seen that book though.
Yeah, I have never seen it either. In the wild. Again, like happy hunting for everyone. Again, this isn't really like a spec play. Just be on the lookout for it. It's the most valuable Redeemer associated book I could find, and primarily because of the print run on the cover, I would assume. So, yeah, happy hunting, everyone. We'll see. Who knows? Redeemer may show up one day. But I wasn't banking on that at all. So tailing it back to Star Wars, Boba Fett, man. This is like, I think just as a mid Star Wars fan, like I love this cover, not just because of Boba Fett, but you got Bosk and Dengar as well on here. So it's in a way it's a triple freaking first appearance, and the cover is just perfect, man. I mean, they literally took this from the movie and put it on the cover, and I just think it's great. I mean, this book, direct edition 9.8 was going. Hey, Fedora, I'm going to mute you one more time, man. Sorry. Oh, he muted himself. Thanks, man. This 9.8 direct edition was going for like $3K during the pandemic. I remember I sold a 9.0 for like $1,200. I don't know the print run on this book. I'm not really going to go on print runs and whatnot, but I remember the Newsy going for like 5,000-6,000, dude. And this is basically like, and I'm going to quote, I think Red Hood said this a while back. Like, this is Boba Fett's rookie card, if you think about it. I know there's that magazine cover that is his first appearance in like print, but I think when you're as a collector and specifically a comic book collector, like this is the book to get. Last week on 9.8 went for 2K, a little under 2K. Again, I think it's just such an iconic cover. The direct, if you're just, I mean, I don't hate on the direct 9.8. I mean, the Newsy is tougher 9.8, but the direct for $1,000 or a little bit under, I think it's a little bit still a little high, but it's 66% less than it was during the pandemic. So I don't know what that floor is going to be really. There's still potential. I mean, Boba Fett's still like one of those iconic characters that just never said shit. But I mean, it's come down quite a bit. I don't know if it's a spec play so much as a collector's play that, you know, like you just hold on to like forever and just have it on your wall and be like, yeah, it's Boba Fett, first appearance. Yeah, I've owned this book probably 3 or 4 times in my life, never a 9.8, but pickles. What are your thoughts on this book, man? I'm gonna swing in the restroom. I'll be right back, but go for it.
Yeah, no, I love this book. I mean, Boba Fett has always been one of my favorite characters in the Star Wars universe for whatever reason, even though he wasn't like a major character ever in the movies and stuff like that. But yeah, I've never owned this book personally. I've looked for it. It's always been too expensive. When I do see one that I like, and they won't budge on price, so I'm just kind of like, okay, well, I'll one day maybe. But yeah, that's kind of
what's your ceiling? Like, what's the most you would pay for one?
Well, so I usually look for raw as opposed to graded, just because I prefer to have it raw and then see if I can get it graded. But I mean, I've seen them for as, I don't know, like probably if I can get a raw copy in a, like, it doesn't matter if it's direct or not, like maybe what, like between 4 and 700 or so.
That's crazy.
I wonder what a 9.6 goes for. I didn't look at 9.6s in this book, but yeah,
that's usually where I was seeing them at. I'm just kind of like, eh.
You know, I think for under 1,000 in direct, if I saw raw like in my hand for 300 and I was like, this potential to be 9.6 or higher, I'd probably do it. But anything over 450, I'd probably say no, and I just buy the 9.8.
Yeah.
Because like CGC is grading so tough lately too. That's the other thing. Like they were giving out 9.8s like crazy back in the day, but and I haven't submitted
usually where I see these go for raws, like between 4 to 7, 800. Some people are even asking like graded price for raw copies. But
so dumb, dude. Like I'd have to see it in person, man, to even make that offer. Because this is a tough 9.8 book, man. Honestly.
That's back when people read comics, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, seriously.
They ended up in kids' back pockets.
Or like it ended up being kindling, you know?
Or like a tool that you'd roll up and smack your kid with.
Yeah, that's right. Spit it out. Fedora, man, what's your thoughts on this book?
I mean, I don't really have any thoughts on it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not really a Star Wars guy, so I don't really.
That's right.
I know people go crazy for Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
I know our Star Wars books always sell out.
Yeah.
So I know Boba Fett is a popular character. So I would say buy it.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be. I mean, it's one of those books that may take another 20 years to double in price. So it's like, oh man, you know, it's like Jason's favorite book that he's always on the hunt for is First John Constantine, right? So I think it's kind of like if you're the John Constantine fan of Boba Fett, that's kind of what your wheelhouse is looking like. I just report the prices so far.
Well, the Boba Fett books are just expensive for me. Like that's the problem.
I know.
Like you can get. Huh?
Oh, I was saying when I lived upstate, there was like this comic book shop, and the guy was like, "Yo, like I'll cut you a deal on a near mint John Constantine, First John Constantine, because you know I like Constantine. That was the only book I bought at that time."
Yeah.
He's like, "Yeah, I'll give it to you for $150," and then this was back in 2014, and I was just like, I'm not really into collecting, just more of a reader.
Yeah.
And then I fucked that up, but that was.
Oh man, like you can't predict that shit, man. It's like not buying Nvidia in 2022 when they were, you know, going off. That's you know, and Fedora, man, everybody has those stories, right? Like I should have picked up that Captain Marvel #4 that Fedora recommended, but I was too busy looking at what is it? My Little Pony #10, 1 in 10 variant, because you know
all about that My Little Pony, huh?
I know some of that really is My Little Pony.
My Little Pony is
Michael Baker with the heat here. 11,827 on Comicron. And you are right. I apologize. I forgot about that. That's how much I read Spawn. Newer stuff. But and a little bit of, I know like during the pandemic and just like, you know, during collecting, people were calling out the Star Wars 68 as like another Boba Fett appearance. But it's not actually Boba Fett. It's another Mandalorian on the cover. But I think it's a great cover too if you're a Star Wars collector. And it goes for pretty good money, you know, here and there. But just another kind of low-hanging fruit for you guys. I think like 229.8 is last time I saw it. But that book was pretty hot during the pandemic as well.
Yeah. I wasted all my money on buying that, on getting a Boba Fett tattoo. So
hey man, that's the ultimate CGC grade right there, baby. Where's that tattoo at?
On the back of my calf.
Oh, okay.
But it's that Boba Fett James Bond mashup one where it's like Boba Fett in a tuxedo, but he's like posed like Bond, and it says Fett.
Fett. Shit! I didn't know you had that, man. Damn. DZ Comics, what's going on, man? Good to see you in the chat, and good morning and happy St. Patrick's Day. We're almost an hour in, or we're past an hour into the show. Again, I want to thank everyone for just supporting us on the channel. I know I say that every week, but I really feel the support for the channel. You know, we didn't do one weekend because I was out of town, and we kind of missed out on some hours there, but that's all good. We're trying to ramp it back up. Trying to do more stuff, trying to do more giveaways. I mean, the more subscribers and more people live we get, the better giveaways we'll do. I was going to do a giveaway today, but just don't have enough people in the chat to make it worth it. But I do appreciate everyone coming through and supporting us. Hit that like. Tell your friends to subscribe to the channel. Like I said, you know, if we get more subscribers, I'll do like bigger giveaways of keys and all that. Yeah, smash that like button so I get the algorithm going. We're almost at 600, and thank you all for your support. Swamp Thing #1. first appearance of many characters, but specifically Anton Arcane, the villain of Swamp Thing, arguably like the main antagonist of Swamp Thing, I would say, right? Jason, do you know?
Yes.
Yeah. So I don't read a ton of Swamp Thing, but if I had the DC app, I probably would read at least. I'd definitely read it. It's just because it's so expensive, right? So this is actually when I was reading through like Spec and just like prices for this first Swamp Thing issue, I was shocked. I mean, Swamp Thing, with the DC stuff going on and just like the overall like love for this beloved character from the Bronze Age, $122 for a raw copy, 5.0 sold for $80. I mean, people are buying Ultimate Spider-Man #1 for $299, 9.8. I'd rather spend $300 on a 7.5. I know this is a pretty tough high grade, but an 8.5 went for $332. It was a Canadian sale, so that may have been a little bit of an influence, but oh man, my nose is stuffed up today. These prices are insane for the first Swamp Thing. People in the chat, like if you guys are looking for like a good play to invest in for the next 10 years, like don't buy Ultimate Spider-Man #1 or even these other books. Get this in an 8.5 for $332, man. Fedora, I'm gonna go to you first. Swamp Thing fan, or do you think this is a good buy?
I've only ever read the Alan Moore stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really have I don't really know too much. I know they had that one DC show that people were really going crazy
Fucking loved
for.
that show. Yeah.
I'm assuming that they're gonna bring him into the James Gunn verse. So
right.
Yeah. So I mean, that's yeah. I would say go for it.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
8.5 for $332, and it's a direct, but like fuck that, man. That's a great deal in my opinion, man. Pickles, or whatever your name is. What are your thoughts on this Swamp Thing? Do you have this book?
No, I've been trying to snap that up. It's just every time I find a good copy, like you said, it's a little expensive. I'm to the point now where I'll probably just bite the bullet on it, or like I was showing you last night. I saw that full run of Swamp Thing, Saga Swamp Thing. It's like all 500 and something issues of it.
Are you still winning that bid auction?
I don't know. I haven't checked it in a minute.
Should I put it up and just show everybody?
Huh?
Should I put it up and show everyone so they can outbid you?
If you want to, I don't care.
No, I'm just kidding, man.
It's like that's a lot of comic books for me to take on. So if somebody wants to take them on, like
no. I thought it was a great deal, man. I keep it. Would you pay $330 to a Canadian for an 8.5 in this book?
For one?
What? Yeah.
Swamp Thing 1 and not the Constantine.
Right. Yeah. Number Swamp Thing 1. Yeah.
Maybe only because that's what, like 2 something us.
It's like $5 to us or something.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like it kind of
no. It was 3.
So I would have to like look at the grader's notes to see if there's something I could do to improve the grade.
Let's just say you're not going to improve it. Just 8.5, because
No, I don't think I would spend that much for it. Not for an 8.5.
Yeah.
Maybe for a 9.0.
Maybe for a 9.0. Should we look at the 9.0 prices for Swamp Thing 1?
You can.
Okay.
But I mean, like, as far as Swamp Thing goes, like, this is like one of 2 of his major villain intros. So it's like, I think they considered Swamp Thing 2 to be like his first full appearance or whatever. But it's basically him and Jason Woodrue are like the 2 main protagonists for him.
Gotcha.
Throughout the comics. Just because Jason Woodrue becomes the Floronic Man.
See, you got some.
Which is what they basically where they left off with the damn series, because I was so pissed. I was like, yes, they finally introduced the Floronic Man, and then nothing.
Yeah.
Like, son of a bitch.
Jason, there you go. 9.0 for 363 back in January.
That's not bad.
So that's a pretty good. I mean, like, and just in comparison, man. I mean, like, I know it's not the first actual appearance of Swamp Thing, but it's the first appearance of Swamp Thing, like as we know him today.
No, I mean, well, when I'll grab like even this right here. So I grab this, and this is just like, it's not like a key, it's nothing, but it's a Mark Jewelers Swamp Thing, and it's in great condition. So I picked it up. I'm like, I just buy shit like that if I see it, because why not?
How much you pay for that book?
$25.
$25? That's not bad.
I believe so.
Should we just leave Jason on the solo layout the whole show? Should we just leave it like this the whole show?
I'll fucking turn my shit off if you do that.
And then Jason, this is kind of an ode to you. The Swamp Thing, John Constantine. Let's see what this is going for.
I want it a lot still.
Would you? Okay, so like yesterday we were talking about Newsstand versus this 50th anniversary kind of like insignia. Would you pay these prices, $275 for a 9.0? Is that too high for you? Let's see 9.2.
I'd like to see it down more around. What did you say? That was 275.
It was like 272. Here's a 9.2 for you. 300 white pages. 244. Man, January this past year was a good time to buy.
No, apparently.
let's see what 9.8 goes for.
Probably more than like
number 37.
It's like a crazy price jump, yeah. Well, and that's like with signatures.
So $2,000 for 9.8. It's a lot of money, man. Yeah. What's the 9.6 go for?
See, it's a steep drop off. Like look at that. Even the 9.4 it drops to like $390.
Jesus. $410 for a 9.6.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's like the disparity in price between a 9.8 and 9.6 is crazy. Like that's every book. Every big book that is a 9.8, the drop to a 9.6 is fucking nuts.
So that's a buying opportunity, in my opinion. I'd even go 9.4 and pay $300 for it.
Yeah, why not?
And I wouldn't even press it. I'd be like, no, I'm holding this for investment purposes. Like, I don't care about a 9.8 because this is a high print run book.
Well, and this is like a book that every once in a while you'll get that buyer that spikes the price because they just really want the book.
Yeah.
But it's like the prices for them are just all over the place, like you were just showing. That's why I haven't pulled the trigger on buying one because I'm just like, man, I keep going into the past sales and seeing like people scoring deals, and then I look at the prices and I'm like, damn it, man, I'm like, what the hell?
It's
like,
crazy.
Why can't I see? Why do I never see this stuff?
Why?
Oh, anyway,
why? I don't know. Anyway, next, Venom 3, the third print variant, arguably the greatest villain to come out the past 5 years. I don't give a shit if he shows up in any fucking show. But Venom 3 third print, I'm happy with the prices I paid for this book because I'm holding on to him because I love him. I have 3 9/8s in this book. One of the La Mole Mexican variant. I have a book I bought. I have an issue that I bought for like $20 back in the day. Double signed by Mr. Stegman and Donnie Cates. I have another one that I paid $150 for. It's a 9.8 third print. I think the third prints are the only way to go with this book. The first and second prints are cool. But, I mean, if you're a Knull, like, this is like a poster to me. Like, if they made a poster out of this, I would get it signed and framed and put on my wall. It's holding pretty strong for, like, a pandemic, quote-unquote, book that went for $2,000 back in the day. Fedora, shout out to you for calling that out. That's so funny. If this guy ever comes to the MCU, it's going to be 50 years from now. However, he's shown up in Spider-Man 2, the video game. If you haven't played, I do have some live streaming of the ending of that game. But there are like snippets of him showing up in the game, and it actually makes a pretty good. He actually makes a pretty good like kind of like cameo character in the game. But my personal spec on this is he's the best villain that's come out in the past 5 to 10 years. My other spec is that he's going to make more appearances, like not in the movie so much, and that people are going to be like, oh, who's this Knull guy? And it's going to have that organic growth through that way. I don't think 300 is a good investment to buy this book in unless it's double signed 9.8 and has a gold label. With that said, this is a tough one to hold on to if you bought for 300 raw, in my opinion. I'd probably sell it I'd probably grade it and try and get as much money I could out of it at this point if you got in that high. Fedora, I'm going to start with you. What are your thoughts on Knull as a spec for the past 5 years? villain-wise? Specifically villain-wise.
Sony's gonna do some stuff with it. Oh, just in the comic book wise.
Just as a villain spec.
Oh, I think this is the #1 villain spec in all of comics right now, bar none. Third print or bust.
I agree with you too. I agree.
Print or bust. It's. I mean, he has good potential. Just to be like a really good like Galactus level or who's that other dude?
Dormammu.
I can't even name good Marvel villains because they just like galactic threats. It's Galactus. The ones that people know, like the ones that the non comic book fan know, it's just Galactus, and I think that he could be Galactus level. I mean, there's Galactus in Marvel, and then there's Darkseid in DC.
Yeah.
And I think that, with the popularity of Spider-Man, they're gonna need things to do to like raise the stakes. And I know, as terrible as Sony is, they made some hits to Knull and Let There Be Carnage. So I would say go for it. Because I don't know about spending 309.8, but if you could get it out there in the wild for like 150 near mint, I think that's probably something that's good. Yeah, I mean, all he needs to do is to be relevant again, is just to get a really good writer. Once he gets a really good writer and they reinsert him back into the forefront of what's going on, but like a really good writer, like not no Michael Bay, Donny Cates shit. I'm talking about somebody that's actually gonna build on the lore. Philip Kennedy Johnson.
God, he'd be perfect for that. He'd be perfect.
Somebody maybe Percy. He's been killing it.
Percy be tight. Yep.
Even if they got like an old school writer, maybe like a Grant Morrison, because I know he's really good with like sci-fi stuff. He's a big character, and I hope he gets like somebody big to like build off. Jason Aaron, I feel like would do really good because he does good with that magical galactic wish-wash stuff. So go for it. Don't spend 300 though.
Yeah, don't spend 300. Even in 9.8, maybe offer like 200 max. And I would say the reason I like this so much, and I'm going to go Jason, is like I look at my long box of graded books, and I'm like, would I let this go for $300? And I think I'm just like, to me, it's like it's just worth so much more to me personally as a collector. And I was so happy when I got this in 9.8 signed, and that's why I hold on to it personally. And I see little snippets of him here and there, and so the big studios are like, man, this is a really good written character. I mean, I feel like this is like Joker. Like the craziness of Joker, the like evilness of like the devil, and like the scariness of like your worst horror movie, like in one character. And I think that's why I liked it so much. And I can't think of an event that I could not wait to happen in comic books other than the King in Black the past like 10 years. I can't think of an event that was just like, I cannot wait for this fucking book to come. And it was a whole year until it came out, and everyone gravitated towards it. And it was a good series until they killed him off. Spoilers. Pickles. I think this was like one of the books or one of the characters I was like, dude, you're going to love this, dude. You have to pick it up. Am I right?
Yes.
Or did you know about it before I mentioned it to you?
No, you had brought him up because that was kind of like as I was starting to get back into comics.
Yeah.
Or at least like back into collecting and like reading again and stuff like that. It had been a while.
Yeah.
And you were like, yeah, you got to check this dude out. So I had gotten into all of his stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I think like he helped Venom be a collectible character again. And that's what helped him out a lot. What do you like about Knull as the character? Forget the spec, forget the money. Like, what do you like about him?
So I remember reading his run and even the lead up to him like first appearing and just being like in reading that being like I've never seen the like I'll use MCU but like basically like the Marvel universe appear as worried and scared as they were leading up to his arrival and then after his arrival.
Yeah.
Like I remember thinking like, and especially now that they're going back into like animation with like X-Men and stuff like that and having the relationship with Star Wars, I feel like Venom, if they did a Spider-Man animated show in the style of Star Wars Visions, like do like almost an anime style thing. And now that they've gone rated R with Deadpool and kind of having that, just do a very graphic animated series with Spider-Man and or with Knull involved.
Yeah,
I think that would play really well. Like I just think he's a character that like even like in the comics and stuff like that reminded me of a major like anime villain. So I've always thought that it would be kind of, hey, shut up. I've always thought that it'd be kind of he'd be good that way. But I mean, any aspect that they can bring him back and like make it happen, I'd watch it or read it.
Yeah. And like I know you don't have a PlayStation, but dude, like when I was playing this Spider-Man 2 game, like get the writers for the Spider-Man game over to Sony and just have them be like, we're taking over, because they do a fucking amazing job. The Knull references though, how like Knull symbiote like takes over Manhattan was so cool, but they never mentioned Knull. And there's actually a skin you can dress up. I think Miles's costume has a Knull skin. So it's like they're taking snippets from, like I said before, they're taking snippets from this character and they're like, this is a pretty badass character. And just the lore, the origin story. I mean, like Johnny Cage was Michael Jordan of comics at that point. And he did kill Knull off in the worst way possible. But the lead up to that actual death of Knull was pretty awesome, which is why I'm still bullish on this. This is like the Apple stock you should have in your portfolio,
apish,
in my opinion.
Apish, not bullish.
We're
apish.
Apish, right? Apish. And real quick, I just want to do this real quick. So 318 for a signed, and I know there's a ton of these out there, but it's all about supply and demand. So if there's 20,000 of these out there, and there's 100,000 people that want it, that's 4-to-1 ratio.
Hey, don't do it. Nope. Hey, come here. Fucking goddamn.
Oh, what'd she do?
She's trying to fucking get up on the goddamn window.
Oh, yeah.
I'm telling her now.
So right here, Fedora, would you pay $265 for this or grade 9.8 on this March 4th sale?
$250 would probably be my ceiling.
$250. All right.
Yeah.
I respect that.
See, I got mine. My double signed one came back in 96. So. But I paid $300, but not for that book. I got the first print, the convention, like the black and white convention, and this one. So basically $100 a book. Yeah. And I already sold they all got double signed, and I got 9/8 in the 2 white books. Go fucking figure.
Yeah. You know what you could do is you could sell that 9.6 and then just take the profits from the other ones you sold and just get the 9.8 now for $250.
Well, I still have the convention one. I sold somebody bought my double signed first print for like $350, I think. Or
something. There you go. I just get.
I already made my money back at this point.
Yeah, I would just sell the other two.
This is the one that I wanted anyways. I'm just kind of pissed that it came back at 9.6.
I'd sell that 9.6 and just use the profits to get 9.8.
Because like the signatures on it, they did in fucking blood red, so they pop.
Oh, fuck me. Well,
yeah. I'm just like, damn it, I love those signatures, but why did it come back in 9.6? Because I can't resubmit it.
Those bastards. Michael Baker says,
I can send it to CBCS.
And they'll give you 9.4.
They verify it and give me a 9.8.
They'll give you 9.4. But yeah. Flash 197, Hunter Zoom, first appearance. I remember this going for $80 raw when I was looking for it. I was like, that's just too expensive for me. I'm a pretty big Flash fan because my wife and I enjoyed the show. We met Mr. Grant at Comic-Con last year. He was my favorite evil character out of all the Reverse Flashes, all of them. And I know everyone hate on me, CW, like DC, whatever. But I saw 9.8 of this go for under $100. I think the cover is amazing. It's a modern book, right? So it's not as like an old school Flash book, which is so tough with DC like main characters. Is like you gotta fork over like thousands of dollars for those first appearances. But as far as like, you know, the DC spec and the new DCU, I felt for a modern villain, I think this is a good spec because he did so well. Like, he was the best villain out of the whole CW series. Very evil, very sadistic, very just dark. I don't know if you guys are huge Flash fans, but for under $100 a 9.8, now I have to worry about getting a 9.6 back or 9.4. I'm all in for $80. Fedora, what do you think of this?
I think any 9.8 for under $100 of a first appearance, I feel like that's good. Even if you lose or not, like I feel like $100 for like a first appearance of a major villain, I think that's great. I don't really know too much about the Flash. It's not really a character that like resonated with me, but I know I think we might have this book actually at the shop, but I'm not too sure. Like I know I've seen it many times, so I'm assuming it's up on the wall somewhere. This one is a pretty good book. King Shark is actually another one.
Oh, I like that one.
Yeah. So I think if you're trying to spec DC modern for villains, I think it's Zoom, this guy, because he comes up a lot in conversations. And King Shark, the Superboy Zero, I think.
Gotcha. So. Yeah, Jason, what are your thoughts on Zoom here?
Yeah, I like the character. And just even seeing these, I know of the character, but I haven't seen the books all that much. So to see these, it always reminds me, because you're like how he's kind of a modern character. DC, out of all the, like between DC and Marvel, I feel like DC's done the best at incorporating modern with old school as far as their like covers. Because they do look modern, but they have more of a feel. Like Marvel covers, I'm very aware that I'm seeing a modern cover, but like the only, like with DC, a lot of them, even like I'm just because I have it sitting here, this Joker Year One Part 1 cover, I'm like looking at it and I'm like, it's a modern cover, just like these ones are, but it's like it has a feel of nostalgia to it, and so that's like one of the major things that I dig about the newer DC books in general. Just outside of the character spec. Sorry, I know I got off topic a little bit. It's just I see the covers and see that. But yeah, I like the character. Like Fedora was saying, it's one that you hear about a lot when you talk to Flash enthusiasts and stuff like that, or just DC enthusiasts in general, I would guess. And so yeah, for under $100 for a 9.8, like why not? Like,
yeah. And I don't know the print run on this either. It's like 197, so it's a little bit later in the run, but I think the cover is like awesome too. I mean, it looks like he's coming at you, you know. And Mojo Quinn, you're never too late, man. Whenever you show up, you're on time. But sorry about the work schedule. If you want to catch the rewind, we definitely would appreciate it, trying to get to that 600 mark. And I just FYI in the chat, I gave some wrenches to some people that are just great contributors to the show. If you don't want to wrench, just let me know. But just want to show some love to the chat there, and again, appreciate everyone liking and subscribing, telling all your friends. We're almost to 600, and we're almost monetized, so we'll get there one day. But yeah, and then another kind of like low hanging fruit. I find these in back issue bins all the time. He wasn't a great character, but Godspeed, Flash number 6. I think the cover is awesome. It's his first full appearance in this book, and he's, on the cover as well. He was in the CW series, also kind of like one of those like stories about a person that was just like beat to hell, like mentally and all that, and he turns into this like horrible villain, and I kind of like it. So, thank you, Soupy. I appreciate your support, bro, for sure. But yeah. So anyway. Let me actually hold on a second. Give me 1 second, Mojo. Because you're here all the time as well. So there you go. Next up, we're almost done, fella. Everyone, got a couple more slides left here. Yeah, this is my last spec of the night, and then we'll kind of wrap it up. I have probably 50 copies of this book. No, I probably have like 10. Swordmaster number 9, first appearance of Lin Fane. I'm still, what'd you call it, Fedora?
Apish.
Apish. I'm so apish on Swordmaster. I love Swordmaster. I hope he becomes the new Iron Fist in the MCU. I've never been a Danny Rand fan, and no hate to Danny Rand, but I just never resonated with him ever when I was even when I was a kid. But, and I've said this before on past series or past shows, but Swordmaster, the reason I like him so much is because I know, Michael, I know. Because his story is just so classic in the whole like kung fu martial arts movies. It's like it's always a family member that fucks with you. It's either like getting revenge for your dad that got killed, you're fighting against a brother, or some type of like relationship or whatever. This is the first appearance of Lin Fane, like I said. The way that he's presented in this book too, if you've read the Swordmaster series, so he's like in the shadows, like in the book, and in this issue, like near the end, and the way they did the art, it had very Sephiroth style vibes for me. I spelled that incorrectly. I'm sorry. It's Sephiroth is the way that it's spelled there. This was going for $30 during the pandemic. It's going for like 10 to 15 now. I have about 4 9/8 in this book. And this is like, it's kind of a heartbreaker because it's a story and it's a character that I just love. And it's a tough spec, right? But like I said, I'm apish on this. Beware the back cover because it had that weird kind of like colored whatever you want. But yeah, I think Lin is the future, man. I think he's just, he's written in the books. It makes sense to get that kind of Asian kind of groups into the MCU. I wouldn't be mad though if Danny Rand becomes the Iron Fist like it's read in the books because like that's how it's written.
That's not.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've been told that Danny Rand is out indefinitely.
Are they going to write a comic series that's going to come out this year that's going to continue the Iron Fist?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know, but that's what I've been told.
Yeah. Would you be mad? Okay, so even if you didn't know or were told like different, would you rather have Danny Rand continue as the Iron Fist or Lin Lee here?
No, I mean nobody. I'm not gonna say nobody, but I just think that people weren't really excited about Danny Rand as Iron Fist. So like, I mean, it just doesn't. I don't know, like, because I feel like, I mean, I'm not to be too political here, but
yeah,
I just think that there's like a lot more diverse stories that you could tell with Swordmaster, like going back into like his Asian heritage and like maybe his family lineage, maybe they have connections to other past Iron Fist, like they could be related, like I don't know. There's so many ways you can take it with Lin as Iron Fist. He could be related to the past ones. He could be. There's so many ways you could take it, right? With Danny, I just feel like the show murdered him.
yeah,
or
like E2 says, 100%.
Yeah, the show definitely didn't do him justice, and I think it was kind of time to have like an Asian Iron Fist because we always hear about them, right? Through the comics, like, oh, this past guy was this and this and that. So, I mean, characters got to evolve and characters got to change for better or for worse. So,
yeah,
I think it's good. And even if what I was told wasn't true,
yeah,
I don't think that it would get people excited for Iron Fist.
yeah,
So we'll see. Because I don't know.
yeah, and it's like kind of what you said. Like I never want a character, I mean, being like, Filipino, like I would never want like, oh, there's a Filipino character, I'm gonna go watch MCU because of that. I want to watch, oh, there's a Filipino character that is really awesome. I don't care if he's Filipino or not. to be part of the MCU, and I don't really think that because the Iron Fist is like of Asian heritage or has that background, it's like, oh, it's like, you know, Danny Rand doesn't make sense. But when I watched the Netflix show, Danny Rand didn't make sense. So going off of just that, not knowing that much about the comic book, and I've read Iron Fist comic books, and I'm like, he's actually pretty cool. The art's pretty nice and like all that. But I think if Bob Iger, who's the CEO of Disney, saw like the Danny Rand Iron Fist character, he would say, "There's no way we're going to reintroduce this guy. It's not hitting with viewers because out of all of those Defender shows, who was the best character out of all those? What was it? What's the girl's name?
Jessica Jones.
Jessica Jones was the best one. She resonated. I think personally, me, I thought her story, it kind of it'll meld in well with like that Daredevil kind of aura. That was my favorite one. What was your favorite one, Fedora?
Probably Luke Cage.
Luke Cage, and people like Luke Cage, but everybody hated Iron Fist.
No, not
you know.
It's because he
if I had to
kept saying the same thing.
What I thought was the best was Daredevil. What I liked the most was Luke Cage. So that's
Wait, what? You like? Oh, Luke Cage. Yeah. You like Luke Cage the best out of all of those like Netflix shows?
Like me personally, I like Luke Cage only because, you know, like they did a Marvel show about like, you know, like about stuff that I understand, like places that I grew up, like Harlem.
Yeah.
This other stuff. So I recognize those places. So it was like a connection for me and how I grew up and stuff like that. But as far as like what I thought was the best show, like written, story development and everything was the first 2 seasons of Daredevil.
Dude, 100%. And E2, man, you are hitting it today, bro. Like for sure. I will say this too. So I watched
Punisher and Iron Fist were like the worst ones out of the Netflix or out of the shows in that verse.
I liked Punisher the character, but I didn't really get stoked about the show. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, yeah. I get it.
Like he is Punisher, right? Like John Bernthal is Punisher. I'll also kind of tie into this too, and I'm gonna watch Luke Cage now that you said it. So I watched Jessica Jones, I watched Punisher, and I watched Daredevil kind of in that order. And then I somehow was like, oh, I'll give the Danny Rand show a shot. And then I watched Danny Rand fourth. And after watching Danny Rand, I got this kind of like, oh my gosh, like that was such a bad show. I'm not going to watch the rest of the Defender shows after this. So I wonder if I would have watched it in different order, had I would have kept like watching like the other Defender shows, but like it fucked it over for me. Pickles, man, what's your thoughts on this? I gotta go to the bathroom again, but I want to know your thoughts on this.
On Lin Fang, I like the character. I like Iron Fist, or I like Lin Lee as the Iron Fist. He logically links up with a lot more now, especially with like Shang-Chi kind of being his mentor in the comic books and helping like kind of essentially train him. So there's a connection there that they can do because Shang-Chi was a character that I really liked the MCU portrayal of. Like the movie, it just kind of like I went and saw it in the theater and it was one of the ones that year that kind of blew me away. And I would like to see them expand more on that. But the character itself, I just think it's more interesting than Danny Rand is as Iron Fist, only because like Iron Fist or the portrayal of Danny Rand as Iron Fist was like felt like a poor man's Iron Man to me. It's like it's a rich kid that just showed up out of nowhere again and like fell back into money, but just kind of tried to humble himself. And the whole time he just kept telling people that he was the immortal Iron Fist, defender of Knull. Like the whole time. They're like, what are you? He's like, I'm the immortal Iron Fist, defender of Knull. Yeah, we get it, Danny. All right.
Yeah. So, cool.
But I watched all the shows different than you because I think I started out with Daredevil and then watched the first season of Jessica Jones. I don't think I ever finished season 2 of Jessica Jones. and I don't think I finished season 2 of Luke Cage. I don't, for whatever reason, I like whether they had moved them at that point and I was waiting for them to show up on Disney Plus or whatnot. I never got to make it through. Like, I know that I think I watched like 4 episodes of season 2 of Luke Cage, and I was like just getting like back into it because it was like after, because I watched season 1, like just like killed that whole season, and then it was like waiting for season 2.
Was season 1 pretty good at Luke Cage then? You recommend it?
Yeah.
Cool.
I really dug it.
E2, man, like this is another reason why, like, dude, don't, like, the actors, you suck. Like, how could you not? You're fucking the Iron Fist. You refuse to practice martial arts. Like, fuck you. Like, that's just lazy.
Well, and, not to mention season 1 of Luke Cage prominently features Raphael Sadiq. If you are a fan of his music, I believe he was the house musician for the club that Copperhead worked at or owned or whatever.
Oh, cool. It was
kind of crazy because I was like, this freaking dude sounds familiar. I was like, why do I know this? And then I looked up who it was, and I was like, oh, it's because I've got like like every Raphael Sadiq album. So,
what kind of music is that?
Like it's kind of weird. Like each album he has is a little bit different. Like he's got some old school. Like
I'm on 2%.
Oh, you got to roll?
Yeah. What's the next one?
Yeah. We'll flip through them real quick. We'll go through.
It's the top 10 books of the week I could find.
I bought that one.
You did, yeah. And so I want to just kind of do, like, I did a little kind of perusing through the top 10 shows. I looked at CBSI's. I looked at House of Stein's great show. Some other top 10 shows, Lefteros, just a bunch of top 10 shows that I've been looking through. And this is the ones I picked. So Call of Duty, I picked that one from House of Stein's show. That's a pretty cool book. I just thought it was like a really nicely, it was a good spec for last issue. Star Wars High Republic Adventures #4. I usually don't do the Star Wars like spec because it's just so, it's ridiculous. But I thought the cover was fire, and the story is actually really good. There's a ton of first appearances in this book. It's going for like 15 to 20. The Call of Duty Zombies book is going for like 40 to 50, evidently.
Wait, and then you're telling me that a Star Wars book has a ton of first appearances?
Weird. Yeah. And then the Invincible Iron Man #16, right? Fedora 15. I can't, or 15. Sorry.
15, 1 in 25.
15. Yeah. I remember, I think I asked you about this. I didn't necessarily call it out, but I DM'd you. I was like, man, this cover is cool. What do you think? You end up picking up for like $20 at your LCS. And oh, snap. Keep It Thorough is in the house. What's going on? Good. My dude, Keep It Thorough on the East Coast. Keep It Thorough. Damn, thanks for joining the chat, man. I think I'd be potentially Invincible Iron Man. That one could be potentially the cover of the year. I think it's possible. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful book.
Also, before I leave, Mario 1 first appearance of Bowser, the Valiant Comics special #1. That one has Bowser featured on the cover. There's a bit of a debate of what's the first appearance, yada yada yada. But my phone's about to die, so
all right, bro.
That's my villain spec of the next 10 years. Mario,
I like it.
#1.
I love that.
Bowser's on the cover. Mario, really hard to get in high grade. Look for it, because I think that's going to be the book. Anyways, I gotta go.
All right, peace out. Thanks, brother.
Also, follow me on Instagram, everybody. I'm a friendly guy. We'll talk. Message me, and yeah, all that other jazz.
Nice. Peace out, bro. What were you gonna say, Jason?
See it? What?
What were you gonna say?
About what? I don't know.
Oh God.
So many things happened right there.
I know. No, I wish you would have sent me that. I would have got slides for it. But yeah, I mean, shout out to a lot of the shows out there. I always watch House of Stein every Friday, or at least catch the rewind, and I support Brian's show. He was so generous to have me on there for such a long time, and the timing just didn't work out for me. But I'll try and if he would have me back on, I would definitely like to join up on Wednesdays every once in a while. So shout out to him and what the good work he does out there.
Who knows,
CBSI groups. Huh?
Maybe sometime soon I'll hop on to First Shift and we can actually do like a weekday show.
Man, whatever, man.
Catch some weeknight peeps.
Whenever you can do it, man.
Tell the old lady to pipe down. Be like, hey, go sit over there and be quiet.
Hey, hey, this is 2024.
Let me do my show, woman.
I never get any freedom, woman.
Hey.
As a shoe comes darting at my head, in like 2 seconds.
Yeah, like what?
Yeah, and everyone like follow Thoro, man. Like, what's great about Thoro show is like I'll be working and then I'll see like it'll pop up like randomly at like 10:30 Pacific time, and I'm like, boom, I'm on there. And he's putting out some good content, really good stuff. He's got like almost 4K followers, man. He's doing some really good stuff over there. But I hope you guys enjoyed the show today. 15 live strong on a happy St. Patrick's Day weekend. It's beautiful here in the Pacific Northwest. I'm gonna go install some flooring for the new basement downstairs.
So you're telling me you're gonna get out and enjoy that sunshine?
Jason, go fuck yourself, okay? Just kidding.
Just put mirrors up and reflect the sunlight.
Yeah. I'll just be like, oh, it's so nice here in this.
Be like, oh, look at me, I got sunburned in the basement.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know if we'll do a show on Tuesday. I'm gonna try and get on Wade's got some new Star Wars spec, but I'll be doing an unboxing video pretty soon for this new Star Wars Unlimited game. I think it's pretty cool, and I'm just really enjoying it so far. Any closing thoughts, my friend? We almost went 2 hours today. Holy shit.
No closing thoughts really.
Yeah. Okay, that makes
Enjoy
sense.
your St. Patrick's Day, everybody, safely.
Yeah.
Safe.
Don't get too drunk and drive, please. But do get too drunk and not drive.
Yeah. If you're at home.
If you're at home, just
fucking have it out. Get yourself a nice fat shepherd's pie or maybe some corned beef and cabbage.
Yeah, and
that sounds delicious right now.
And some lumpia.
Corned beef and cabbage lumpia. How badass would that be? You wrap your own.
Yeah. You know what some dude said to me at Costco the other day or yesterday when we got the lumpia? I cheated. I'm sorry. He goes, "Are you going to air fry that?" I about slapped him in the back of the head. I swear to God. Air fry? What kind of
air fried lumpia?
Yeah, seriously.
You don't get that authentic taste.
I know. I was so I gave him that look. I'm in the
like, what the fuck? Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. Oh man,
that was Vin Diesel.
Yeah, it was like this. Harold just
yeah, hit him with the boiler room, like
Anyway, all right, we're done. All right, everyone, you guys have a great weekend. Thanks again for your support. We'll see you next week, possibly on Tuesday. And be safe out there. Take care.